Hey guys, Ryan G. Wright with DoHardMoney.com coming to you with a Just Ask Ryan question of the day. And today's question is, what are the steps to rehabbing a house? Now, if you've got a question like this you'd like to have me answer, type it in the comments below, and as we see those, I'll create a video just like this for you. So, what are the steps to rehabbing a house? Well, first off, the rehab process begins before you even acquire the property. The first step in the rehab is setting yourself up for success. And the way that you do this is making sure you don't get yourself into a bad deal. You've got to find great deals, but you've got to execute them as well. So the first thing that's going to happen before you even purchase the property is you are going to go walk the property with your general contractor. And with your general contractor, you're going to go through the entire property and you're going to talk about every single thing that needs to be done. You, not the contractor, are then going to document that into a scope of work. It's going to talk about the quality of materials, and it's going to have a price by line item as to how much each one of these things actually cost to get done. Then with that, you can send that to the contractor where you can then have a pricing meeting and work through that with the general contractor to establish a price for each one of these line items. You're going to do that with two contractors, so you have a primary and a backup contractor. Once you've gone through that process, you'll have a clear determination as to which one you want as a primary and which one you want as the backup. That way you know you just didn't get the cheapest contractor who's then, after you close, going to be saying he needs more money. You're going to make sure that you're actually fair market pricing. That's the worst thing that could happen is you get a low bid for $20,000 and it turns out he needs $10,000 more once he's gotten into the project. You can avoid that by doing a few things. One is by outlining the project item by item on a checklist that says this is what needs to be done to the property with quality materials, the scope of work, and how much. We call that a scope of work form, okay? Then what you're doing is having that pricing meeting, getting all the prices, then you're getting signatures, making sure it includes all the permits, making sure they know there's no cost overruns. If things are more expensive, the contractor is going to have to eat that. Then you get what's called an agreement with the contractor called a services agreement. That services agreement says that this is how you'll get things done. What I recommend is for every $1,000 in work they're going to do, that's a day's worth of work. So if the job's going to be $60,000, plan on it being 60 days, and then I add 10 days just for permits or problems or cleaning. So if it's $60,000 plus 10 would be a 70-day job. What I want to make sure is that I have benchmarks along the way. So I have a 25% benchmark, a 50%, a 75%, and a 100% completion. Now, since we've broken things down by line item individually, I pay out on those line items as 100% of that line item is done. Meaning, if they just go buy paint, but they haven't painted the entire upstairs, there is no money to be paid to the contractor. I will pay the contractor once that line item's 100% done, and I'll pay them anytime there's a line item that's 100% done. 100% meaning if the faucet's there but it's not installed, it doesn't get paid. If the faucet's there and installed but it's leaky, I'm not going to pay. It has to be line item. So what general contractors tend to do is group everything together so that they can try and get these big draws. What I want to do is break it down by line item so when I go in there, there is no ambiguity as to what was supposed to be done and what was done and what should be paid and what shouldn't be paid. It's a big problem that we run into, and you can avoid that by setting yourself up for success. Now, all of this I've been talking about happens before the time you've even bought the property. You've walked the property with your general contractors, you've put your scope of work together, you've had a pricing meeting as the work and the pricing, you've had them sign that, you've had them sign a services agreement, you've done those two people, you've decided who's the primary contractor, you've reran your numbers based upon that. You maybe have to go renegotiate with the seller, or it may be good enough you can move forward, and then you proceed to closing on the property. All of this will set you up for success on the back end by doing it on the front end. It takes time, it takes effort, it can be frustrating, but that's what happens if you want to have a successful rehab. Now the work actually begins. The work begins, and you should be at the property at a minimum once a week, walking the property with your general contractor, and you want to be seeing work moving forward. And my question each week is, what did you get done last week and what are you going to get done next week, and are we on track to hit the 25, 50, 75, and 100% deadlines? If not, why not, and how can we get back on track? You want to see serious progress from week to week to make sure it's getting done, and you want to be talking to the contractor and saying, tell me exactly what got done, show me what got done, and tell me what will get done by next week by line item. I'm taking my clipboard out there and say, great, tell me which things are being done. And for our checklist, which if you're a member with us, you can get a copy of that and use that. Our checklist goes through each item, and I can say number 1, number 5, number 50, number 300. Each line item is numbered, and so I can say which line item numbers will you be getting done this week, and what did you get done last week, so I can start crossing those off, and then we can do a draw for that person, that contractor, based upon those line items. It works really well if you set it up in advance. Now, if the contractor starts getting off, then we've got to have a readjustment meeting where we sit down and say, you are so behind, I need to either stop paying you and pay somebody else to do it, or I need you to get these things on time. Now, occasionally run into a problem like with a city permit that takes longer, and if we can document why it's taking longer by a third-party documentation, like the city, we applied but we're waiting, and there is nothing else we can be doing, we'll give some liberty, or we'll give some additional time, but that should be the exception and should not be the rule. Then if you're project managing through the entire project, making sure the rehab's done on time and on budget, that's how you have a successful rehab. But it all starts before the acquisition of the property actually happens. Now, at Do Hard Money, we actually have professional project managers that work with our borrowers to help them have the pricing, have the virtual walkthrough, have the pricing meeting, set up the scope of work, set up the pricing on that, and then meeting with the contractors and the borrowers through the entire process. If that's something you're interested in, check us out over at dohardmoney.com. It's a huge benefit and really helps people that are going through this rehab process. Now, if you've enjoyed this video, please hit the thumbs up video. It tells YouTube that I'm doing a great job, and it makes me happy. So it means a lot to me. I hope you're enjoying the videos. I know you are. Couple of videos you should check out. I've got a video on how to rehab a house with no money. So check that video out. I also have a blog post on how to rehab a meth house for a fix and flip. I'll link both of those in the description below so you can check both of those out. Appreciate you being with me today. Make it a very profitable day, and bye for now.